Welcome to our show,
Sleepover Cinema,
where we analyze the films that created the collective unconscious of the girls, gays, and theys of the late 90s and early 2000s. I'm Hannah Leach.
And I'm Audrey Leach. We are the sister filmmaking duo, also known as Two Pink Pictures, and we haven't stopped thinking about these movies since we first saw them.
We're going to explore the good, the bad, and the nonsensical of the very often made-for-TV movies that first inspired our love for film in an attempt to answer the question, are these movies actually good? And at the end of the day, do we really care if they are?
Today, we are talking about 2004's A Cinderella Story.
Once upon a time, in a land called Los Angeles, there was a girl named Sam.
Orders up!
Who lived with her wicked stepmother.
There's something I've always wanted to tell you. You're not very pretty, and you're not very bright.
And her two evil stepsisters.
Ew!
You've got mail.
Yes. Secret admirer beckons.
One day, she got an invitation.
I need to know who you are. Please meet me at the homecoming dance.
To meet her Prince Charming.
I need you to mop the floors tonight.
Fortunately, her fairy godmother appeared.
Let me deal with Mrs. Potato Head.
Go ahead, girlfriend.
Call me girlfriend one more time.
Okay, sorry.
From the Brothers Warner comes a fairy tale.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
I'll let you know.
That's not by the book.
Okay, it's time to meet Cinderella.
You are so dead.
I'm Cinderella.
I'm Cinderella.
I am very upset about this.
You don't look upset.
It's the Botox. I can't show emotion for another hour and a half.
Hillary Duff, Chad Michael Murray.
Thanks.
A Cinderella Story.
So, Audrey, are you excited to watch this movie today?
Yes.
What are your initial impressions of the fact that we're watching this today?
You know, it's a rainy day. It's a good day to watch a movie, so that's nice. We're not, missing out on good weather.
Right.
And it's a good Hillary Duff moment, you know?
Yes. Let the rain fall down.
I haven't seen... I don't think I've seen this one in a few years.
Me too.
So...
And we will circle back to that. But
Yeah.
I'm very excited because I have a lot of childhood attachments to this movie, which we will also get into.
Yeah.
But before we get into all of that, let's just start with the facts about A Cinderella Story. So this movie premiered on July 16th, 2004, and was directed by Mark Rosman. These were the things in his directing history that stood out to me. He directed The Perfect Man, which was this other Hillary Duff movie that came out in 2005, which I somehow have no awareness of. Do you know about this movie?
No.
Okay, there's the cover is Hillary, her mom, and her younger sister, I think.
Oh, The Perfect Man. Yes. Okay. I recently watched, I'm really obsessed with video essay YouTube videos.
Oh, yeah, me
and
too.
somebody had posted one about why Hillary Duff only plays herself in all her movies. And that's the actual tea of this whole thing. But
That's interesting.
yeah, you can never think of her character names. You can only think of Hillary.
What is what was the thesis of the video?
The thesis, oh man, I'm trying to remember what the title was, but it was it kind of went through her filmography and called her out for various acting tropes that she
does do the same thing in every movie.
She does the same thing in every movie, which is why you can't distinguish her character from her. And I remember, it was because it all circled back to Lizzie McGuire and how wholesome that had to be and how it was basically just her playing herself.
Yes.
In everything.
Definitely. Well, we should link to that video in the notes. We'll do that.
And The Perfect Man was included in that.
Got it.
And that's why I thought of it.
So not only did Mark Rosman direct The Perfect Man, but he also directed a whole season of Lizzie McGuire, or a lot of episodes of Lizzie McGuire. So he was the Hillary Duff wrangler of choice, it seems to be. And he also directed Life Size. Which, you know what that made me think about? Why were all of these movies directed by men?
Well, it's just the time, it would have been really rare in 2004 for it to have been anybody else.
Yeah. I guess also, like, if these were kind of, at least for Disney or whoever was making them, like, corporate, we're going to churn this one out type movies, like, they would just go to their, like, old reliables to direct them, probably.
Yeah.
So that's Mark Rosman. The screenplay was written by Lee Dunlap, and this is the thing that I wanted to talk about. So she wrote A Cinderella Story. She wrote another Cinderella Story, the one with Selena Gomez. She wrote A Cinderella Story, Once Upon a Song. That was a straight-to-video one with Lucy Hale in it.
Yes, Pretty Little Liars.
Yes, and then A Cinderella Story, If the Shoe Fits, which was in 2019, I think. So, like, Lee Dunlap is riding
Cinderella Story bitch.
Yeah, she's riding this franchise out. Like, she found her niche and she's staying there. That's kind of how I feel about it, too. So on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie has a 12% critic score.
Absolutely not.
Which is abysmal. And a 53% audience score, which was shocking to me.
Also low.
I was like, that seems really low. But I also feel like if you're the type of person who's like going on Rotten Tomatoes to make a review, I feel like you're more likely to be mad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that hurt me.
Always bitter in the IMDb reviews. And Letterboxd. Oh, actually, Letterboxd is a little more forgiving because I feel like it's got some millennials.
Yeah, and it's also people that like care more about movies.
Yeah,
like that are giving more like nuanced reviews. Probably,
or they just love it from childhood, so they're like 5 stars. That's me. That's what I do.
Right. Okay, so the plot synopsis of this movie. Routinely exploited by her wicked stepmother, the downtrodden Samantha Montgomery is excited about the prospect of meeting her internet beau at the school's Halloween dance. I don't know.
That's a really bad logline.
Is it even a logline? I don't think it is a logline. That's
not even a plot synopsis either.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I thought that one was good.
Yeah.
Can you read the tagline?
It's all right.
Can you read the tagline?
Once upon a time. Can happen anytime.
It's literally horrible.
This once upon a time, ... Can happen anytime.
Yeah, I was like, they really couldn't think of anything better than that. Like, that's so stupid.
It's so vague.
It's so generic. The cast of this movie. We have Hillary Duff playing herself, a.k.a. Samantha Montgomery.
Basically.
We have Chad Michael Murray playing her love interest. We have none other than Jennifer Coolidge playing her stepmother. And Regina King, randomly, is playing her, like, boss at the diner, but, like, her fairy godmother.
Fairy godmother, yeah.
But the best thing that I came across while looking stuff up for this was that Rupert Grint originally was supposed to be in the Chad Michael Murray role, but then he had to drop out. But to me, that makes... Well, first of all, he had to drop out because of The Prisoner of Azkaban.
You know what? It actually does kind of make more sense.
Why?
Well, maybe in a past rewrite or like before, maybe before they casted Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah.
Because I could see a situation where they're kind of both
like outcasts?
Yeah, maybe they're both kind of outcasts, but they're like, maybe he's pretending to be someone else. Maybe they're both pretending to be someone else. That would maybe. What if he was pretending to be like the most popular?
He was pretending to be Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah.
Wait, no. We'll have to see if that makes sense.
That would be.
I bet that does explain it because you would never put Rupert Grint and Chad Michael Murray in the same category. Meanwhile, so apparently Hillary Duff was like 15 and a half, 16 when she was filming this, which she always seems older than that, so that's weird.
Yeah.
But I guess Rupert Grint would have been the same age, but even then, like, would he not have been English? Would he have had an American accent?
I'm sure he would have had an American accent.
I don't think I've ever heard him speak in an American accent.
No, and based off Emma Watson, he probably shouldn't.
Oh my God, yeah. But Daniel Radcliffe's is okay.
In what?
Like How to Succeed and that kind of stuff.
I don't remember. He sounded really like 90. He was like, hey,
yeah, that's how you're supposed to sound in that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I really enjoyed imagining what that would have been like.
We digress.
Anyway, speaking of the fact that Rupert Grint was a deeply relevant star, this movie came out in the summer of 2004. So what was going on in 2004? I would say that Hillary Duff was probably like the most bankable starlet type for tweens in that year. I feel like that makes sense.
Because Lindsay Lohan would be exiting that, basically exiting the tween category.
Right. Mean Girls and Confessions came out this year. So I think that I also kind of feel like Lindsay Lohan was like the PG-13 version of Hillary Duff.
Yeah.
Like she had a little bit more edge to her.
At this time, by this time, yeah.
Yeah. And she never had a show on Disney, so she had a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's some other things going on. Napoleon Dynamite came out. The big celebrities in the tabloids at the time, and this was like still very much in like the tabloid pre-social media era, were like Jude Law, Orlando Bloom, Jennifer Aniston. Beyonce got her first solo Grammy. J-Lo got married twice to Ben Affleck and then Mark Anthony. Friends ended. This Love by Maroon 5 was a big hit.
Yes.
Juicy Couture was in, and Ashley Simpson got caught lip syncing. So in my mind, this era falls really heavily into this personal phase I had, which was that both my grandparents would give me like dozens of People magazines, and I would make these really, really elaborate collages with like celebrity images. Like, I'd be one where I'm like, this is them all wearing red.
Yeah.
This is them all with their dogs. Like,
honestly, I wish we still had those.
I actually do still have some of them.
Because they're kind of like, they really capture a time.
Yeah.
You know?
No, there's a sketchbook at Mom and Dad's house that still has them because I took a bunch of them out of the sketchbook they were in to use them in the set for the play that I wrote.
Right.
Because it's like very much about this kind of cultural thing. So I've looked through them and they really do hold up.
Yeah.
Anyway, also you and I were in jazz class together in that era and we like exclusively danced to Maroon 5 and Green Day.
And we don't know why. We had no choice in the matter. But it's pretty of its time now.
Yes.
So that's fun.
Yes. This movie came out for me the summer between 3rd grade and 4th grade. So for Audrey, it was the summer between 1st and 2nd grade. What do you remember about this movie from when we were kids?
No clue when I first saw it. Probably not for a bit, I would think, until after it came out, maybe. I don't know. But the first thing that comes to mind is just Jennifer Coolidge in general.
Yeah.
Because everything she does is perfect. And then I was thinking about the meme of like Hillary typing on her flip phone and people just like put in whatever they want, like on the phone screen.
Yeah.
So, and she's just like, LOL, yeah. Like that's like what she's saying. It's really something like that. The dress she wears, the white, poofy dress is like life-changing. Her entrance to the party.
Yes.
The Mean Girls outfits.
Yes. The
all
angels.
of that is just like chef's kiss.
Yes.
And then I think what everybody thinks about with this movie is the fact that this is a masquerade Halloween party.
Dance.
It's
like a school dance.
Yeah. And she wears the tiniest little mask over her eyes, and Chad Michael Murray doesn't know who she is. It's like, look at those bangs. Look at that little poof and curls she has going on. You know who that is. You cannot pretend like that is Hillary Duff.
Right. I totally agree with all those points. I feel like for some reason this movie, even though I haven't seen it in years and years, I can make such a direct line between this movie and so much of like the first creative projects I ever did. Like I have written down that a combination of this movie and Avril Lavigne's Let Go, if you like put those two things in a blender, it would give you like my first real like writing project I ever did. Like when I was in like 4th and 5th grade, I wrote this really intense series of like, it was basically a teen drama show that was like punk, like skater punk kids in the suburbs being angsty, but then there was like beef with popular people, and I really put a lot of like love and care into this series. And then when we moved in 2007, my dad put the stories on a floppy disk because we had to move my disconnected from the internet desktop computer, and
like ancient beige PC.
Yeah, it was so old, but the keyboard made really good sounds, and I'll never forget that. But my dad lost the floppy disk, and I don't know where the stories are, and I can still remember the names of the characters and a lot of the plot points. But my point is,
lost to the world.
Yeah, lost to the world. But I can attribute a lot of the inspo to this movie, which makes me kind of scared to watch it because I feel like it's going to make me like remember my like gross child brain. But we'll find out. This movie imprinted on my soul the way that Jacob imprinted on Bella's child.
Great.
Yeah.
Vivid.
Very vivid. Anyway, I'm really excited to watch this. I'm sure it'll be like a tight 1 hour, 30 minutes.
Yeah. And I really should just mention, though, that Regina King pulls through in this movie.
In what way?
Like, well, she's a fairy godmother, so obviously she pulls through. That's like her plot. But I just feel like she's the sleeper hit of this movie.
We will find out. I feel like she doesn't really have that much to do in this movie.
No, but she does stand up to Jennifer Coolidge.
You need to be truly brave to stand up to Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So go ahead, pop yourself some popcorn. Go find this movie in whatever illegal means you probably need to. And we'll be right back.
We are back. We watched A Cinderella Story.
Woo!
And that was really something.
Yeah. Bumpy ride.
It was a bumpy ride, to say the least. It definitely had some surprises in store, some hills and valleys.
What's a negative surprise?
Disappointments. Before we get too decisive with our overall judgments of the movie, let's talk about Audrey. What were some of the parts that you appreciated?
I completely forgot about the announcements girl. We don't know her name.
We're going to a real obscure thing.
We don't know her name.
Yes.
Literally, that's the thing that I was like most pleased about. Is just like that she existed, and she was in like probably 6 different scenes.
Yeah, she was like a recurring character.
Yeah, but I was saying to Hannah, she's like the original e-girl. Like,
and this was the girl who just literally did the announcements, but she also was like the DJ, at the school dance and stuff.
I appreciated the placement of Hillary's flip phone on her strappy heel at the dance.
Yes, why?
It makes sense because she loses her cell phone on the stairs as she's leaving, a la Cinderella fashion. So the phone had to be on the high heel.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I feel like that is so representative of like the weird reaches that this movie makes to like make it be Cinderella-ish.
Yeah.
Because it's really not that Cinderella-ish. No. Mostly
just the setup, I guess, is.
The setup is, and like, I don't know.
The last thing that I appreciated, obviously, is Jennifer Coolidge.
Yes.
And everything she does in this movie. Everything she wears, everything she says, and everything she does.
Yes. I'll pick up on my appreciating the movie starting with Jennifer Coolidge. Yeah. I kind of feel like in this movie, she feels like a character from a different cartoon.
Yeah,
but
she's on a different level.
Which is like kind of what she's like all the time. But especially in this, especially because Hillary Duff has like the acting range of like a doorknob.
Me in
like
5th grade.
Yeah. Like Audrey and I were sitting there and we were watching this scene where they're sitting in Hillary Duff's bedroom and it's Jennifer Coolidge sitting on the bed with her telling her she ain't getting into Princeton, being hilarious, and Hillary's just like playing it totally straight.
She's playing it so straight, but like even worse than that because she's just like a brick wall and it's just dead silence, and then she's like, all right, I'm leaving. So
Jennifer Coolidge is like, want a cookie? I can't do her voice.
Yeah.
Can you do her voice?
No, I don't think so.
I'm not gonna force you to, but I was curious.
I've never
really
tried.
Good at it. I can't do it.
I could probably try, but only with like a Legally Blonde line.
Right. I also appreciated Fiona. So Fiona is Jennifer Coolidge's character's name. Her house, she has this really ridiculous trim. There's like this weird motif with the cut with like salmon and salmon colored things, which is very of the now, very on trend. But she was amazing and hilarious. There's this whole chase scene in the car where
she's just gotten her Botox
done. So she's making this like ridiculous face while driving, which like doesn't even make sense that she'd be making that face. But because it's her, you're like,
the highlight.
It's honestly the highlight. It's very funny.
It's not believable at all that Sam Montgomery's dad would marry Fiona. It's not believable.
I agree. Well, but in the flashback, she's not like this weird like 2000s bimbo yet. She's like, she has brown hair and glasses.
Yeah, which also was like, what?
Don't you know brown hair and glasses equals good person?
It means you're either ugly or a good person.
That's it. Except Hillary Duff's a good person and blonde.
Yeah.
But that's the exception.
She's not like other girls.
She's not like other girls, which is what this movie revolves around.
Yeah.
100%.
So explicitly.
There is so much in this movie that's insane that we have to get to. Parts that are worse now. I believe that the how dated is it / problematic elements column gets its own column.
Yeah.
And this is just parts that are worse now.
Yeah. Everything.
Literally the whole thing was ass. It was not good.
Because, yeah, the as kids, we were so, like, ready, willing, and able to cut Hillary Duff so much slack.
Yeah, for some reason.
Because we just accepted her into our homes on television and, like, we loved her, you know?
Yeah.
But in movies, it just doesn't work the same way.
Yeah, this movie doesn't really have a lot of, like, zany, like, I just fell in front of everyone in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Like,
which is Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah. And this movie just requires a lot more, like, self-seriousness, sort of. Which she does,
Takes
but, like,
itself pretty seriously, minus Jennifer Coolidge.
Right, which is still such a weird casting choice. Like, why was it her? Like, I'm glad it was, but, like...
I mean, I kept saying as we were watching, like, replace Hillary with Lindsay Lohan in this scene. And I'm not even necessarily saying that she's the right person for it, but it would be elevated so much. The delivery would at least have some meaning to it.
Yeah, I feel like she would really escalate it to, like, a Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen level, though. Like, I don't really know how good she is at playing non-hyper dramatic characters, because even in Freaky Friday, her whole thing is that she's, like, that she has no perspective.
Well, Mean Girls, she's not really like that.
I guess you're right.
Yeah. If you picture a Mean Girls Lindsay Lohan in this.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
She could pull it off. We know that.
She could pull it off, but it wouldn't be like her most memorable work.
No. But I was really feeling like the Mean Girl Shelby is a stand-in Megan Fox. And
yes.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And also, it's funny you say that because Shelby in this movie, who's the mean girl, is the mean girl in Freaky Friday also.
Yeah. And I'm sure they were up for all the same stuff. Mm-hmm. But this girl who plays Shelby, she just doesn't have that same energy.
As mean.
No.
She doesn't seem as mean.
She seems more insecure.
Yeah.
Megan Fox is just like, she's too like pretty.
Ironclad, hot, and confident.
Yeah.
This girl's not so much like that. Okay, what else about things that are worse now?
All of the physical gags, pretty much, I don't enjoy. I don't think I've ever been a physical gag person.
What do you mean by physical gag?
Like the stepsisters going into the car wash.
Oh, yeah,
and every time someone falls or when the water splashes on Sam's
like
friend.
slapstick.
Yeah, slapstick.
Yeah.
I've never really been like that
Except
into slapstick.
There's some good Jennifer Coolidge slapstick.
Yeah, she's the only one who pulls it off.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just like, wah, wah.
Right, I agree.
I feel like the entire plot surrounding Chad Michael Murray's character is too overdone. I don't know. Overdone's not even the word. I don't know.
So what are you referring to when you say the plot surrounding him?
So I realized that High School Musical is a movie that came after this one, but it's a Troy Bolton plot, but with less, believe it or not, less legitimate problems than Troy Bolton.
Yes.
Like his problem in this movie is that his dad wants him to go to USC and that he wants a girlfriend. Who's Hillary Duff?
Yeah, it actually doesn't make any sense because he ends up going to USC. No, they go to Princeton.
No, they both go to
Never
Princeton.
Mind. It doesn't make sense because playing football in high school and going to Princeton have nothing to do with each other.
It's like, that's fine.
Also,
it's an Ivy.
Yes.
It's like,
and
they're
also,
like, you can't be smart.
I feel like the only reason why it's Princeton in this movie is because the word Prince is in it.
Correct. That is the only reason. That is the only link to A Cinderella Story other than the fact that she works for her stepmother and her dad is dead.
Well, there's other links.
There's others, but it's not. It's like
it's the most on the nose connection, though.
Yeah.
It's like really beating you over the head with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a whole little section about Chad Michael Murray later on.
Yeah. I have one more thing
that's
worse. It's basically the Shelby, Sam, what's Chad's character's name? Austin, yeah. Shelby Sam Austin plot. It's like poorly written Regina George, Katie Heron, Aaron Samuels.
Yes, I agree.
Just terribly written version.
I totally agree. And that actually, so this feeds into where my things that are worse starts off. So you realize that you're supposed to like Austin for some reason. You're like supposed to think.
Supposed to really buy that
You're supposed
he's a
to
good
buy into him. You're supposed to think he's like a good guy, but like he is such an asshole. He's cheating on his girlfriend virtually with
words.
with Hillary Duff, emotionally cheating on her for God knows how long. And then he publicly dumps his girlfriend at the diner with her whole friend group there because she was like, anything you can say to me, you can say in front of my peeps.
So he's like, okay, I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah, and then when he talks about the reasons why he wants to break up with her are disgusting, which we will get to later. But the main thing that bothers me in the plot construction is that when you think of this movie, you think that like the dance happens like 2/3 of the way through, probably.
It's like the 30-minute mark.
It's like the 30-minute mark. But the thing that makes that even more insane is that before you think, I remembered this movie as like you are in the trenches of this internet relationship for like a while. But
it's like 5 minutes.
You get 1 3-minute montage of them being like, I'm typing poetry into AOL Instant Messenger. And then the whole rest of the movie, they're either trying to find each other or they're not even talking because she loses her phone at the dance, so they don't even text.
I could have been way more into it if they spent time like solidifying why they like each other via the internet.
I totally agree. And they never talk about, like, Sam has her weird best friend who seems to get her. She has all of her work friends. Like, why does she need Austin? Why does she need this guy to talk to who's literally just a rando? How did they find each other in the first place?
They found each other in the Princeton chat room.
Oh, right.
And he's like a link to her dad because her dad is the one who
Oh my God,
says,
you're right.
Yeah, her dad is the one who's like, go where the princes go, to Princeton. Also, follow your dreams.
and then dies in an earthquake.
And
moments afterwards.
So Princeton is her connection to her dad. So
what you mean? What
daddy
you mean to say
issues.
she has daddy issues? Got it. That makes sense. Okay, there's a couple more things on my bad list. Again, with the writing, the Drought plot line is the Drought plot line is the most half-assed thing I've ever seen. They bring up the drought in the first 3 minutes, and then they bring it up one more time.
In the final monologue.
Well, in the final monologue, it comes up, and when Hillary Duff goes to the locker room and calls out Chad Michael Murray, she's like, waiting for you is like waiting for rain in this drought.
Useless and disappointing.
Right.
Also, I just realized the end of this movie is supposed to resolve the drought issue because it rains.
Oh, you just got that? Their love ends the drought. Not even their love. Their public making out.
Wait, that should have been the tagline. Love ends the drought.
Love Drought by Beyonce.
Love Drought. That should have been the movie tagline instead of Once Upon a Time can happen anytime.
This shit makes no sense. It should be like something with Princeton and instant rhyming and messenger. Something.
Princeton Messenger. Princeton Messenger.
That should have been one of their usernames. Princeton. Princeton Messenger. We're gonna sell that to Princeton. Their off-brand communication platform, Princeton Messenger. How dated / problematic is this movie?
A lot.
I think that there are movies that have aged worse.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In this genre, it's probably one of the worst ones. Okay, I'm saying that. No, A Cinderella Story is the most problematic movie of all time. That's what I'm saying. But like, okay, so
cancel Cinderella Story.
Cancel it. Really, what I would say is there's 3 subcategories of
let's rethink this.
Let's rethink this. And they are fatphobia, racism, and
homophobia.
There's no real homophobia in it.
I would say there was a moment where during the teenage girls line up for Chad Michael Murray's approval.
I don't know
what that was.
Okay, I don't think that gets its own category.
Low voice discrimination.
One girl who, like, it's supposed to be in a scene that's like the maidens lining up to try on the glass slipper.
Yeah.
And the first girl in line is just like this kind of, just like this like soft butch like
but she's
teen.
Like amazing. Like her outfit was so good.
Yeah, she's like a soft butch teen. And then she talked and she was like, "Sup, Chad?" Or sup, Austin. And he was like, "No." And she was like, "Later." Like, no one cared. Like, I wouldn't say there was... wait, there was homophobia. I forgot.
Homophobia.
And there was the other part where Hillary Duff and Chad Michael Murray are texting. They're instant messaging, and he doesn't really know who she is. And he's like, "Are you a dude? Because if so, I'll kick your butt." And we were like...
so weird.
It was weird.
He could have just said... if we had to go there, he could have just said, like, "I hope you're not a guy." LOL.
Yeah, right.
And she would have been like, "I'm not."
Yeah. And then the best part is it cuts to her and she's like walking down the street with her hair like blowing in the wind. And she's like, "I'm not a guy."
Like, what?
It was rough. But anyway, so I did not anticipate making a fourth category for homophobia, but there we are. There's fatphobia, racism, and there's a lot of misogyny in it too.
Oh, yes.
And the thing is, like,
yeah.
The fatphobia and the misogyny kind of feed into each other. Mm-hmm. But there is something about like early 2000s pop culture where there was so much body anxiety.
Yeah. You know, it's because of those low-rise jeans.
It's all because of low-rise jeans.
It literally is.
Well, I think it's that, and I think it's also because, like, I remember for me, I didn't know what anorexia was until Mary-Kate Olsen had it. I'm pretty sure it was Mary-Kate. And I think that, like, her getting that and it being so public, it became, like, this hot button, like, cultural issue.
Eating disorders, and also the women that were popular at the time were really, really thin.
Yes. It was, like, the look.
Paris Hilton.
Right.
You know, all that.
Britney,
yeah. And they all had like literally almost inverted stomachs. Like it was just a lot.
Exactly. So I'm just going to read off the offenses of fatphobia real fast.
Here we go.
Okay. There's 8.
Oh my God.
The first one, well, this is just a comment about Austin in general. The Chad Michael Murray character, he's like mad at fat people, but also mad at skinny people. Like he'll talk shit about his ex-girlfriend for like being really body conscious, but then we'll like, when like a fat girl walked up in the line,
like brutally rejected.
Yeah, and of course her name was like Helga. I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Like, you're trying to make this like
it was so lazy.
Yeah,
it's like naming someone Olga or like.
Yeah, it was like a Miss Trunchbull type move.
Yeah, it was weird.
Like, what the heck?
It's like, hello. So okay, there's the line: "Laxatives don't count as a food group," which is said in the diner scene. You look
Shelby?
Confused. No, someone says it to Shelby.
Oh, it's probably one of her friends, right?
No, it was one of the boys. The boys are like monsters.
The boys are
in
like
this movie.
next level
They're
terrible.
Horrible. They're horrible. They're like, "We sexually harass you as a joke."
Yeah,
type
and they
terrible.
do. Like they
do,
try.
which is on my list here. When they're in the diner, there's a fat man sitting at the counter of the diner and he's eating a bunch of food and he's talking to the server and he's like, "Oh, can I have a Diet Coke? I'm trying to watch my weight." And the server's like, "Well, it's not going anywhere." And I'm like, "What?"
I don't even remember that.
It happened. I wrote down all that.
So random.
I know.
Just a random extra?
Yeah. What? The guy who walks out at the end with the fries and he goes, "Send me a bill." It was that guy. And I was like, we're really having fat people punchlines? Like, this is sad.
Oh.
A lot of my different offenses are being condensed into one point. Yeah. But there was a part where, first of all, Chad Michael Murray is like obsessed with this like skinniness thing in this movie. Like when he's walking around with Hillary at the dance, he's like, "What would you rather eat? A rice cake or a Big Mac?" And she's like, "A Big Mac." Zah.
He's obsessed with girls' appetites.
Yeah, it's like creepy.
He's like, "Ugh. I prefer a girl with a hearty appetite."
It's like, okay, but you want a super skinny girl with a hearty appetite who never talks about the fact that she's skinny. Cool.
Correct. It's too easy. This whole thing is just far too easy.
Yeah, it's painful. That being said, one of the stepsisters, I would say, is like maybe like a size 12 between the two.
The taller one?
The shorter one.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole time I was waiting for there to be a fatphobic joke about her, and there never was. And I was actually really pleased by that. I was like surprised.
They made enough of a fool out of her in this movie.
That's true. They really put those girls through it.
And they're supposed to be twins.
They don't look like
look
twins
nothing alike.
literally at all. That's for the spinoff story.
Yeah.
They're not actually twins, uncovering the truth. Final two categories here. There was a lot of racism directed at Regina King in this movie.
It's just like flying stereotypes.
Yeah, it's not like discrimination really necessarily. It's just like Jennifer Coolidge calls her Betty Crocker from the Hood in their first scene together. There's a part where she wants to fight Jennifer Coolidge and she takes her earrings out. Like, it's just stuff like that that's like really not cute.
Yeah.
Also, there's...
just not reflective of her character.
Right, because she's just like a normal woman.
Yeah.
There's also this very weird thread of like early 2000s like white boys talking like rappers. Mm-hmm. And that's just weird. Like,
and they have what's his face doing that, whatever his name is,
Carter,
yeah,
but he does it in the beginning as like a bit kind of, which I don't know if that makes it better,
because he said he's studying method acting.
Yeah, but who I'm thinking of is like one of Chad Michael Murray's cronies who talks like that all the time.
That was weird.
Which was weird.
My last thing is that, of course, this turns into a no, dad, it's your dream thing. He's in the middle of playing the championship game or something. He sees Hillary leaving in the stands. He's like, I gotta go get her because I care about going to Princeton.
We gotta eat some hamburgers.
Yeah, we have to eat hamburgers and go to Princeton together. So he's like, his dad stops him on the sidelines. Son, what are you doing? This is your dream. No, Dad, it's your dream. Drops the mic, goes, gets her. The drought ends. Period.
Horrible. And then one of the best lines in the movie at the very end. I didn't know about my dead husband's hidden will.
Yeah,
from Jennifer Coolidge. But like, she's so campy that it works.
Yeah.
But like in the overall plot, it's like, this makes no sense. And, you just have to like take the stylistic difference of her as a gift.
As camp.
Yeah.
Literally her being in this movie is camp.
It's true. But it's so weird because there's no context for it. Like, everyone else is just acting normal.
Yeah.
She's acting super weird.
I think we could end this on one line that I found particularly bewildering.
Okay.
Austin asks, do you believe in love at first sight? Sam says, I'll let you know.
Which means no. They're slow dancing, and they've already had sight of each other for a while, and he asks that.
They literally know each other.
Okay.
And that
sums
carries
up this
through the entire thing.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. This movie's a disaster. The dress is still good, though.
And the soundtrack had some good moves.
It made some points in the mediocre white man rock category.
Yeah, like if you're sitting at the dentist, like these are the songs.
Like, I'll be like very that.
Yeah, Nickelback-esque.
Yeah, Nickelback-esque, but like a little less bad.
Yeah.
I kind of love those songs.
Yeah.
So if you made it through this very detailed diatribe against A Cinderella Story, you may qualify for a veterans discount.
Yeah. I would love to know if you actually rewatched this movie.
Jennifer Coolidge is iconic in it, but the rest is trash.
Yep.
Bye. So was the movie good? No. In my book.
It will live on in our hearts.
It will.
And probably yours too, if you're listening to this.
That's also true. So we'll see you next time we're watching one of these movies. I have a feeling the next one, well, we know what the next one's going to be.
A heavy hitter.
It's a heavy hitter, and it's good. We might get emotional like we did with Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Yeah, like I literally brought makeup wipes in my bag because I'm wearing eyeliner and I know it's going to get messed up.
Yeah. So get ready for that, and we will be back in your ears very soon. Bye.
Bye. can find more from us at evergreenpodcast.com/sleepover-cinema and keep up with our latest creative projects at twopinkpictures.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter at twopinkpictures and would love to hear from you there.
And if you like the show, if it brings back evocative memories of childhood or tweendom or babysitting, share an episode of your choice with your friends. And maybe even leave us an iTunes review telling us what movie you'd like to see us cover next. Sleepover Cinema is a production of Evergreen Podcasts and is edited and produced by me, Hannah Ray Leach. Special thanks to mixing engineer Sean Rule Hoffman and executive producers Michael D'Aloia and David Moss. Our show music is by Josh Perlman Hall.
We'll chat again soon.
Bye.